We are on time, kinda. It doesn't matter. This is as time as we get on Too Late to Cancel. Welcome back. I am Fred Wellman, your host of Too Late to Cancel, right here in the On Democracy channels, FP Wellman, Substack, all the things, all the people. Look, there's comments already. Oh my God, you people missed us. I love it. If you like us, you really do. It's so good to be back. We've got another great show, and you're gonna have a couple of regular faces you know because we warned Dr. Anuhita Dua that she was going to be our medical expert because she's cool. And so we're bringing her back because there's a lot of crazy shit going on in the world. We're going to talk about it. Also, our great panel, our friend Lace Larrabee came back and a new guy you've never seen before, Brandon Taylor. You're going to love him. He's a St. Louis guy like me. It's going to be freaking fantastic. I am so excited about this week. So good to have producer JJ. Producer JJ and I have hardly talked. We've been on vacation. So it's great to have you back. We have got a lot going on in the world. You know, it's just been 2 weeks since we last met. Obviously, the big ugly bill passed. The world's crazy, Texas floods. It's just a lot. But you know what? We're going to get together. We're going to talk. We're going to handle things. We're going to just kind of have a few laughs we can, but also have some serious topics because a lot of people are nervous in the country right now. This Medicaid cut that's coming, it's not kicking in yet. We're going to talk about all that. But in the meantime, I kind of want to start off a little bit of a sad note. You know, I have been blessed. You know, every week we got to talk about the fact that I went to Harvard, but I'm sorry, you're going to have to really put up this week because a dear, dear mentor and truly a friend of mine passed away this week. And that's David Gergen, who is described as the consummate political insider. He died at 83 years old this weekend. David had Lewy body dementia that we just found out about a year ago officially from his daughter when she wrote a piece for the Boston Globe. And he passed away recently in a nursing home. Just a terrible loss to our country. But for me, you know, true loss of a mentor and a friend. I'll tell you about it all. You know, David Gergen, if you don't know about him, I can't believe you don't, but you probably saw him on CNN or all the various news networks over the years. Before all that, he worked not just one president, he worked for 4 presidents. He was a senior White House communications advisor for 4 presidents. He traveled the consummate, as they say, the political insider's path for high-profile jobs, and he just died on July 10th. He was a conservative-leaning centrist, if you will, but he did work for 3 Republicans, both Nixon, Ford, and Reagan. He actually is noted as having a hand in writing Nixon's resignation letter. And then he helped Reagan run for office. He was the communications director. He was the spokesman for Reagan for the first 100 days where he studied history. This is what David Gergen did and told them, look, don't do social issues. Don't start wars. and then he joined Bill Clinton later. That's what you see the picture there. And that's very much who David Gergen was. While he was a Republican, a lifetime Republican. He was also a man of values, a different era, right? And I think that's what makes me sad about Gergen passing away is David Gergen represented a very different era in American politics that we are losing in a lot of ways. I mean, he certainly never bought into the MAGA world. I'll tell you that right now. He was he was the top editor of U.S. News and World Report, where he was also a columnist for many time there. He was a commentator on CNN, NPR, PBS, had prominent jobs at the right-leaning American Enterprise Institute. But more importantly, where my story comes into all this is he founded the Center for Public Leadership at the Harvard Kennedy School, where I went to graduate school back in 2007. While there, the Center for Public Leadership, the idea was if we're going to teach leaders of government for tomorrow, leaders of public leaders of tomorrow, leadership has to be part of that instruction. So I came on that, but even more importantly for those of us who knew him, David Gergen was also spent 4 years or 3.5 years in the United States Navy. After he graduated Yale, he went in the Navy and served as a surface warfare officer. And on a ship, he was the damage control officer, which he often joked about gave him all the tools he needed for his later political career of damage control. You know, I met him because I came back from Iraq. While I was in Iraq in 2005, my boss got the bright idea I should go to graduate school. General David Petraeus. I said, look, and the way it came about is very David Gergen, and all this is David Gergen. And my whole presence there is very much David Gergen. And I remember General Petraeus did an interview with U.S. News and World Report because the Center for Public Leadership was selecting the top 25 American leaders that year. And so the great thing about doing interviews at night in Iraq was it was dinner time. And so I had a good excuse to try and get dinner from the general's private chef, and it usually worked out that way. But it was some really nice time. We would do the interview on the phone and then kick back and just BS. And that night, I remember General Petraeus put his feet up on his desk. He goes, you ever heard of the Kennedy School? I'm like, no. It's at Harvard. And that's why, because I was a kid from Kirkwood, Missouri. I did go to West Point, but I graduated in the top 600 of 900. I was in the top 2/3 of my class at West Point, right? And the idea of going to Harvard was ludicrous at best, outlandish at most. And he said, no, you should check it out. So I checked it out, and I decided to apply with his encouragement. And long story short, I did get in from Iraq. Believe it or not, I got accepted while I was in Iraq, which probably had something to do with it. So time flash forward, and for the mid-career program that I was a part of, there was a 6-week summer program you had to go to. And it was kind of like Harvard for dummies. They would bring us old timers in because the average age of the mid-career program, this degree program I was in, a 1-year degree program, was like in your 40s, right? I was 43, 42, something like that. And so they send you to a 6-week seminar course, like how to write a paper. Here's math. You should do math. I mean, it's pretty funny. And so, but that was a separate program that you had to pay for. So long story short, I get home from Iraq. I'm sitting at home. I get the word from the Army. They finally worked out a deal with Harvard to send me to get me to go. As it turns out, I got a scholarship, which is cool, but they wouldn't pay for that summer program. So I called the Army up and say, hey, I've got this. They say, hey, you report to Harvard on September 1st. I said, no, I report on July 10th. And they said, what do you mean? I said, this summer program I got to go to. They go, oh, we don't have money for that. You got to go somewhere else. I'm like, dude, I got into Harvard. I'm not going somewhere else. And so I called up, of course, General Petraeus, my mentor, and said, hey, boss, you're not going to believe this shit. So Petraeus says, hey, look, what you want you to do? I want you to call David Gergen. I was just up there for a speaking engagement. He said he knew about you were coming. I think if you need anything, to call David Gergen. Now, look, I'm a fucking nobody. I'm a major at the time, or lieutenant colonel in the Army. Nobody, okay? He just wants me to call David Gergen, the famous political pundit and hero of the world, and just say, hey, dude, can you give me some cash, right? So I did. So I called the Senate Republic leadership. I give the secretary my spiel that I need to talk to Gergen, that Petraeus told me to call. And then about half an hour later, I get a call. And if you've ever seen Gergen speak, he did before he passed, he has a very distinct voice. Like, Fred, David Gergen. And I'm like, hi, I was geeking out. And I want to just take his class. That was my goal when I was there. And I said, I told my story. He goes, oh, that's messed up. You got to come here. It was like $6,000, $10,000 this course. I'm not kidding. It was, I need to say, as a lieutenant colonel in the Army, I wasn't laying around $10,000. And he says, I just can't give you the money. My board won't let me do that. But I'll tell you what. What do you think about being like a fellow for the Senate for Public Leadership? I'm like, I just want to take his class. I'm like, yeah, it'll work for you. Sign me up. And so we did. And believe it or not, I got a scholarship from the Center for Public Leadership. And I get there, and they had no idea what to do with me because what the fuck's a leadership fellow? They made it up. And but I got a cool office. And as we came along, I said, as I was looking at the course line, I said, their line of courses was leadership. They taught leadership. Then, everything from the biography of great leaders to leadership techniques, lessons learned. But the one thing I learned I was the senior military officer at Harvard that year, and I was looking through the coursework, and there's nothing about military leadership. At this point, we've been at war 6 years, right? And I said, so many of us are learning some really unique leadership lessons on the front lines of combat. I mean, after 6 years, I said, learn that. So I had a meeting with Mr. Gergen, and I pulled him into his library there at the Center for Public Leadership. I said, we should do a seminar series on military leadership because we have all these veterans here. We have a ton of veterans there. Ton of active duty military were there. A lot like West Point and the Air Force Academy would send their future professors to the Kennedy School and Harvard in general to get their master's degrees so they could be professors. So it's rife with military people, and they're welcomed with open arms. And he's pondering, and I said, you got this library of books about leadership, but I bet a third of these people learn their leadership techniques in the military, like so many of us did. And you can see this picture. I love this picture. I love this picture. Look how tall this guy is. I mean, I am a squatty body. I admit that freely. I was young. Look how young I am. Jesus, I'm young. No beard, no gray. And this is in 2007, I think. And he's like 6,000, something like that. I don't know. And I said, all these people, they probably learned the military leadership in the military. Like a third of them. I said, as a matter of fact, what about a young Lieutenant JG named David Gergen? And he looked at me, looked down at me, because as you can see, my brother's really tall. And I said, that's a really good idea. And we did. And so we put this whole thing together. And as we prepared for it, he was going to run it because he's famous and I'm not. And then classic Gergen move, like a week out. You can see the planning meeting. The earlier picture that JJ showed is we were planning it with a good friend of mine named Ry Barcott, who was at the Harvard Business School at the time. He's doing incredible work in the political space with honor and also charitable space. I mean, just a really incredible crew of people they bring together there. And literally a week out, we're getting the posters printed. And he's like, "Oh, you're going to host it." I'm like, "I'm not going to host it. There's going to be 153, 1,000 people there. I'm nobody." He's like, "No, no, you're hosting it." I said, "We'll co-host it." So we ended up co-hosting it. And I think we have a picture of the panel that day. And it ended up being an incredible, incredible experience to be on stage. That's me at the far right. That's David Gergen on the far left. We had Oscar Hall, who was a lieutenant colonel, just came back from commanding troops in Iraq. We had another young officer from the Kennedy School who was a tanker. And then the young lady there actually is Maura Sullivan, who is now running for Congress in New Hampshire. Maura is a Marine Corps officer who'd done female engagement team work and stuff. And then the air gentleman there you see is actually in a wheelchair. He's a fellow veteran who was grievously injured in Iraq. And was actually disabled from it. So we really brought an amazing panel together. And it was standing room only at the event there. And interestingly enough, when we graduated, the dean of the university, the only panel they mentioned in their speech was our panel. And we ended up having dinner afterwards, which I got the idea to do a full military like dining out. If those who have served, some of my veteran friends in the chat, we did a full. I want them to experience what a military culture was like. And when we made our pitch to his donors, we said, the library, Memorial Highway, the Memorial Library at Harvard University is a memorial to the Harvard students who served in World War I. There is a long military history at Harvard that may have been forgotten for a while. And so we did a full dining in. I was a master of ceremonies, including grog and all the services giving each other shit. It was really just a neat experience. And anyway, so flash forward, I graduate. Gergen took care of me again. He sent me to a wonderful thing called the International Achievement Academy and became sort of a mentor of mine over the years. And I would visit him on occasion back at Harvard, and I was watching him age. He was in his 70s into his 80s at one, and I remember when I joined the Lincoln Project, he was not happy. I'm not going to lie. You think about Gergen, we would never say you're an idiot, but he had ways of saying you're an idiot. He goes, "Oh, I'm not sure what I think of those guys." Like, we were, throwing grenades and causing all kinds of problems. And he didn't love it. And then sadly, I saw him just 2 years ago, and he had his favorite cafe there in Cambridge at just off of Harvard Square. And I noticed, and he was moving a lot slower. He had an escort. I noticed a young lady kind of guided him there and guided him back at the end. I mean, I remember her hovering just out of the eye shot of our conversation and earshot, and he was happy with me at the end. I remember I'd done a service academy graduate event, and he walked in as a guest, and I saw him. I said, he goes, "What are you doing here?" So I'm one of the organizers. He goes, "Of course you are." And anyways, it was sadly the last time I saw him. I told my fiance that I think he's fading, and of course we found out a year later he had dementia, Lewy body dementia, which is Dr. Dua could probably tell us just how evil Lewy body dementia truly is and what it does to people. But we really did just have a wonderful experience. It made me a much smarter person, a better person, and he made our country a better place. And that's, I think, why I highlight this is guys like David Gergen are a different type of folks we do not see a lot of anymore, and we're gonna miss them. We're gonna miss them because our politics is pretty ugly these days. And then you have people like David Gergen, who actually taught a class at the Kennedy School every cycle, every 2 years on the difference between the Republicans and Democrats. And I'm not sure what that class would look like today because we're not the same country. So anyway, just rest in peace, his wonderful family and him. A terrible loss to our nation, terrible loss to his family, and loss to me as well. But we go on, we live on, and we carry on. And so I hope, I wish everybody the best. But I want to tell you a little personal story there. If we don't get the team teases me if we don't mention Harvard a week, I failed somehow. So anyway, I'm ready to go. We got a lot to talk about this week. Let's go ahead. I'd love to shift to. I think hope she's good to go. I don't know. I'm not talking to anybody anymore. But let's speak to Dr. Anuhita Dua. Dr. Anuhita Dua is the founder and leader of Healthcare for Action, is a PAC that encourages healthcare workers to run for office. We're really thinking a lot about this big ugly bill, and that and what it means. And what I love about Dr. Dua, and that's why she's gonna be our medical expert now, whether she likes it or not. I warned her that last time she was here in May. I think she was here for Star Wars Day, right, JJ? I think Dr. Dua was here for May the 4th, if I remember correctly. So let's bring her back on. Dr. Dua, let's welcome you back to Too Late to Cancel.
Hi. Thank you
Uh-oh.
very much for having me.
JJ, she ain't there. I told you. I told you. Everybody doubted me. So it's a well-run show. But let's talk about I'll start talking until she joins us again.
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh, I don't see. Great. I don't hear or see. I apologize, folks. So if you're hearing it and I'm not, it could be my end. So there's a lot going on with the this bill, right? Why don't you tell us a little about what shocked you as you watched this process go through?
The sad thing about it is nothing shocked me. I thought this is exactly what they said they were going to do, and this is what they're doing. Essentially, the thing about Medicaid specifically, when we're talking about that aspect of the big beautiful bill, big time quotes for beautiful. The issue really there is that they have been trying to deliver on promises that were based on incorrect logic to begin with. What do I mean by that? For example, if you think about immigration, they said that they were going to get rid of thousands and thousands of people. They don't actually have those people who are quote unquote bad guys. So what are they starting to do? They're starting to go into people who are naturalized citizens or people who've got very tiny petty misdemeanors and try to get those numbers. And that's the same thing that's happened now with the Medicaid cuts. Medicaid is the safety net backbone in terms of healthcare in this country.
Yep.
1 in 5 people in this country are on Medicaid. And contrary to the image that's kind of being made out there that, these are people of color, low income with 25 children who are sitting on their butt doing nothing. Actually, it's seniors, people with disabilities. The majority of recipients of Medicaid are white, though that's irrelevant. I'm just saying it, because it's something to say. And actually, over half the spending that Medicaid does is actually spent again on those seniors and those people with disabilities, primarily for things like helping with medications. When you're in a nursing home, it's an extreme amount of money. You need nursing care all the time. You just said yourself about your colleague, who had the lady with him. I mean, She'd be with him 24/7. That's a serious expense.
Yep.
And any of us who've got older parents know that. So at the end of the day, that's where Medicaid is being spent. So what has happened, I think, and that's why I'm saying it's not shocking, is they said, hey, we need to give the American public this massive cut and in terms of cost. And what are we going to go after? What's easy pickings? Medicaid. So now a fake narrative has been spun around it, saying that, we'll go ahead and cut these horrible things of people that are sitting on the couches, eating Cheetos and playing video games. That is just fake news. It's just untrue. The people who are on Medicaid usually actually, this is data, work. They do work. But as you can imagine, if you work at, Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or something like that, even if you work for a full 8-hour shift, you're not going to be able to make the amount of money that will allow you to buy the insurance premiums from, for example, the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Or
that's my story. That's my story, Dr. Dua. My son was a bartender, full-time bartender at a local restaurant chain that didn't offer health insurance. And when we put in, we just last fall, he's now working in the healthcare, ironically in the healthcare field. But as a bartender, I helped him apply for healthcare through the ACA, and he ended up with Medicaid.
Yeah, of course he did.
Because of his income. Because that was just, even though he was working plenty, money.
Yes. That's the common misconception. What do we consider working, so to speak, right? And also, there are a number of people that, for example, are taking care of their children or taking care of elderly parents that now, where are those people going to go when this person goes to work? I mean, it's very convoluted. As with anything, and that's the quote unquote genius behind how some of the Republican things work. The idea is not wrong. Do we need to work on fraud and waste? Do we need a better healthcare system? 1,000%. Everyone's behind that. But when you get to the action items, that's where everything falls on its face. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are like, I like this idea. Therefore, whatever you're doing something and I'm going to accept it. The problem in this particular case is that the Medicaid cuts are like a ticking time bomb. They're coming very hard. And we'll have a proportion of people that will be thrown off of Medicaid because they won't meet requirements. But actually, I'm going to tell you, I think the majority of people that will be thrown off of Medicaid will meet the requirement, but will
Right.
be unable to keep up with the bureaucracy, which is actually their plan all along.
Let's talk about.
Um,
I want to pull that thread
Please.
for you before you go. Is John Oliver? You gotta love John Oliver. John Oliver did a
Mm,
great piece before the bill was passed. Talk about how dangerous the work requirement. And I see this all the time. Every time I mention the Medicaid cuts online, I get pummeled by MAGA, especially saying, "No, no. What do you mean you don't like people working? It's a they should be working." I'll say, "Well, my son went through this. Like, well, then he'll meet the requirement." I'm like, "Look, they're
yeah.
not covering 15 to 17 million people who are eligible or not eligible. It's going to be people who are eligible. But the work requirement has nothing to do with work, does it? The work requirement has everything to do with bureaucracy, does it? I
Correct.
mean, and I think they saw that he gave an example of Georgia where you have to upload certain forms every month to maintain your health care. At the end of each month, you have to get signed off by your supervisor, whoever that might be,
That's right.
fill out their forms, print them out, get them signed, upload them to a website. Look, if you're in your 60s or 70s or 80s, you can't do that every month. If you're a kid like who doesn't have internet or and then I think they found it in Georgia where the website would just crash. Like one
Right.
person talked about how it crashed 3 times on them. So guess what? They just didn't have healthcare anymore. I mean, the work requirement in a lot of ways is nothing but a bureaucratic hurdle to ensure that people who do qualify simply give up trying, isn't it?
Exactly right. In fact, I really wish they would do this for guns. It'd be easier to get a gun
Right?
today
Oh, I'm writing
than
that
it
down.
is
That's gonna be
to
one of my
get.
policies.
Yeah, I mean, this is wonderful. I mean, I'm all
Yeah.
for gun
You guys
control.
like
I
it so
think,
much.
right? I mean, yeah, that's what's interesting about it. That's why it's just kind of a way, an indirect way to get something else done. And what is that something else? They need to say, hey, we did this wonderful thing and cut all this money. And the way that they're doing is they're going after the most vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, again, I'm talking about children, seniors, disabilities. I mean, I just saw Superman yesterday and I'm like, oh my God, like this is like the parallels are, but who's the villain here, And I think at this point, the gloves are off a little bit because now
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. And I've really tried to see the other side. I am a lot like your mentor that you just mentioned. I'm also very much a centrist, and
Yeah.
I very much believe that there are right things on the Republican side, right things on the Democrat side, the historical Republican side, that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
The
in
old
this
one.
particular case, we are all on to you. And what is actually happening here again is the bureaucracy is going to throw a number of people off. It's going to appear that all those people that were thrown off were actually ineligible, were grifting on the system, but that is going to be completely wrong. And actually, what's going to happen in the unintended consequence of that is that's actually just the beginning. What's going to happen then is that all those people that now do not have Medicaid are uninsured. Uninsured people are going to show up to the ERs for care. But guess
Yep.
what? There's going to be no ER to go to because your rural hospital. And by the way, when I say rural, I mean like Nashua, New Hampshire. I don't mean rural
Right.
like when people think like, oh, out in the desert and there's like a tumbleweed going. No, 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 no. This is rural is based on just the fact of number of people in the area. So these
Right.
hospitals that are actually community hospitals, that's a better way to put it, are
That's
going
a
to
better
not
way.
be able to have the resources because it's something like 60% of the money that comes in for them to sustain themselves comes from Medicaid. So now if Medicaid is gone, those hospitals close. Hospitals already
Yep.
work on like 1% to 2% margins. So that's like not sustainable for any business person out there. That means all those patients either do not get care and die or are traveling to ERs further away. And ultimately, we are going to drive our own population into a sicker state. And if you don't care about the humanity aspect of it, fine, you don't care about that. Let's just talk pure economics. From that standpoint, if your population is not healthy and they cannot work, that means that you cannot be an economic power. That means that we should just hand over to China. Just like forget it. Just say that's the end of it. Because if we don't have health and we don't have economy, then we're no longer the greatest. So at the end
Yeah.
of the day, the Medicaid cuts are a major problem. I agree that they need a good overhaul, not because there's waste and fraud. Actually, the opposite. We need to ensure that more people are covered and in a safer way. And I think people also need to know, and I'd like to say here on your show, that they don't call Medicaid Medicaid. For example, if you're in Wisconsin, Medicaid
Right.
is called Badger Health. So if you're on
Right.
Badger Health, you are on Medicaid. So it's not
Right.
other people, it's you. In
Right.
Massachusetts, it's Mass Health. They just give it fancy, cute names. A badger is the Wisconsin Badgers. So sure, that's what they call it. So I'm just pointing out that if you're in that position where you are about to get thrown off, there are some very specific steps that you need to take that we can go over if you'd like.
And I do. That's why I was really excited to talk to you. So
Mm,
just kind of summarize it. Look, bottom line, folks, and I love you to, and I want you to. This show we try to educate so you're armed for the conversations with friends and family and others. And the fact is, the numbers don't number. The math don't math. The way to cut 50, there's just not enough money for 15 million people or 17 million are going to get off of healthcare because there just isn't enough money. They cut that much money. And so you have to accept and get through your friends' heads that eligible people who need healthcare are gonna lose their health. No matter what numbers the Republicans lie about, the 1.5 million illegal immigrants, not true. The lazy kids, come on, how many 29-year-old kids are laying around playing that lie? It's all bullshit. It still doesn't add up to 17 million people. Right. They don't use Medicaid. And you don't use Medicaid or get right. They're healthy. They're not going there. My son didn't have healthcare because he was 28. He was perfectly fucking healthy. It's like he wasn't. I got him health because I was freaking out because he didn't have. I was the one freaking out. I was like, you're working in a business where you could slice your finger or just your back goes bad from standing. You might need physical therapy, but he's 28. They think they're gonna live fucking forever. That's the joke about that meme is some 29-year-old dude playing video games thinks he needs healthcare. Are you freaking kidding me? So I wanted to get you to talk about that. So let's have that next conversation. Is there's people scared right now because states. Look, the story is, but this is I had Lisa Blunt Rochester on the show Friday night on Democracy, 7:00 every Friday night on Midas Touch Network. Don't forget, gotta get my plugs in, Doc. But Senator Blunt Rochester's talk about how the thing is, while she calls this bill deception because the cuts to Medicaid and a lot of these programs don't kick in till after the election. Now, there is one little hidden jewel in there. If states have expanded, they can roll that back now. So states like Missouri, where I live, who had to be sued to expand Medicaid, right? There's a lot of the southern states, a lot of the Republican states, they never wanted to expand Medicaid. So they are now authorized to roll that back. Mm-hmm. So there are going to be people losing their health care. So a lot of Democrats are kind of worried that they wouldn't be able to run against it. It's always the worry. But don't worry, Missouri's going to, I'm sure, there's no way the Missouri Republicans don't roll it back sooner. So as you're looking at this, you're just a normal person and you may have a mom or dad or even yourself, your kids like me, who could live healthcare. What should they be doing now, Doc, to get ready in case they're going to lose their healthcare? And I think that's a great place to really kind of tell people the cool part.
Absolutely. So number one, this is super, super important. You must go and ensure that your address, your income, and the number of people in your household is up to date. If it's not, because actually, so what happens is again, they're very clever about how they do things. And I'm in the healthcare system. So I also know, the only place that I've seen a fax machine in the last 20 years is in my hospital. Right? That's the only place. We're trying to send someone to Mars on one side, but I can't get your medical records from your hospital to my hospital without, signing away my firstborn. And we all know that's, partially engineered too, right? To keep patients within a system. But moving on, basically what's going to happen is because of the bureaucrat, again, keep in mind that the bureaucratic requirements are in place so that you fail. If you start from that place, then you will be able to figure out how to do the next steps. So you have to sort of fight it. Number one, those renewal notices where they're going to send you to renew or say suddenly, hey, we need a new requirement from your employer. They need to sign on this line and they need to use blue pen instead of using black pen on this line. That's all going to be mailed to you. So if that's going to be mailed to you and your address is not up to date, you are going to miss the renewal notice and they will kick you off immediately. And then reinstating it is another big drama. So number one, star underline, make sure that all of your information is up to date. The second thing that you need to do is if you are going to be either threatened or circling the possible threatened, you need to think about filing an appeal. That, again, is going to be a lot of bureaucracy. The way that you do that is if you go to your local Medicaid office, which is going to be per state. And, of course, there's a federal one. If you go to healthcare.gov, there will be a phone number on there, and you'll be able to get a healthcare navigator who can help you through the process. And I use help in a loose term, but at least tell you what needs to get done. The other thing is, let's say you're actually off, right? Like you're not going to be able to make these work requirements. You're not going to be able to do the bureaucracy. There are two things you can do. If you get thrown off of Medicaid, you fall into a special enrollment period. It's one of the eligibility requirements. If you get thrown off of Medicaid, you can enroll with your employer if they have healthcare for you. And a lot of times that's allowed. So you all got, like when we enroll, there's like an enrollment period every year. They say like January to March, you have to enroll in your benefits. Well, if you're thrown off of Medicaid in May, you have a special period sometime between 30 to 60 days where you can enroll with your employer. So you can go and talk to them and see what needs to be done. The other thing you can do is go to the marketplace, which is the Affordable Care Act marketplace, and quite literally buy insurance. You will be eligible for some lower premiums for sure. being thrown off of Medicaid?
Because of, and the key
Because of
here
it.
is because if you are thrown off of Medicaid, it reopens your window. I think a lot of people forget
That's right.
that. They think they have to
Yes.
wait for the next open enrollment,
Nope.
right? Because you lost your health care, the enrollment window opens back up again, right?
That's exactly correct. Exactly
Okay.
correct. And so, and then the final thing is I'll just give this number out, 1-800-318-2596. That's off of the healthcare.gov website. That will connect you with your local manager so that you'll be able to move forward and figure out what the next steps are. At least that's the number that's available. I just wanted to bring it forward. The point
Yep.
is, though, as you can see, it's a lot of kind of like rats on a ship scurrying around. There's
Right.
no real like, here's the solution. I'm just saying, in each level, there's some people that it's the work requirement problems. There's some people it'll be the renewal notices. There's some people that, grandma with Lewy body dementia and their 22-year-old assistant is not going to be able to put in paperwork every month to update. So I think what's going to happen, in fact, I know this is happening because I've got friends and colleagues that are doing it, is from the Democrat side, people are saying, all right, the government's not taking care of us. We'll do it ourselves. It's actually the most American mentality that you can have. That's what we did when we started
Right.
the American Revolution started. Basically, there are nonprofits and for-profit sites that are using AI that are going to help people who are going to be thrown off of Medicaid. So we're going to be ready in 2 years to help people with all these bureaucratic requirements. So that's going to be coming. So keep an eye out of that. And I'll hopefully be back to tell you more about that when I can give you some websites that you can go to.
We are dragging your ass back on a regular basis, Dr. Dew. It's just
Like
how
it.
it is. I warned you, you're my doc. I just wanted to transition from the gloom and doom about this whole thing to some real actual items. And that's why I really wanted to
Yes.
talk to you, because that's what Healthcare for Action is all about. That's your Healthcare for Action. That's why I love the name.
That's it.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Healthcare for Action, where people can find you, and before they see you here next time?
Absolutely. So Healthcare for Action is an organization that I started in 2022 to specifically work to put healthcare people again. So it can be PT, it can be surgery, it can be anybody in healthcare into federal government. And so if you go to our website, healthcarefораction.com, all one word, all spelled out, we have on there what our plan is and what we're going to be doing moving forward is we're going to raise a substantial amount of money and identify the red to blue districts. Because remember, this passed by one vote, which means every single Republican out there in all of these places that can be flipped red to blue, that was the deciding vote that allowed this to pass. We're coming for those seats because that's not cool. You work for us. You are supposed to ensure that our people at the bare minimum get health care. And now we're going to come and we're going to make sure that those poor people that you have affected in your district, right, because you were pandering to a king, those poor people are going to get the right care. Democrats do not always do things perfectly. I'm the last person to say it, okay? But neither do Republicans and neither do independents. At this point, I think we just need to be finding the right people who've got balls, people who are ready to do the right thing, and people who say that someday when I'm lying on my deathbed, I don't want to think back that, wow, I can't believe I voted for that big, beautiful bill. You saw that lady's face from Alaska? She'll never forget what she did.
Nope.
That's the kind of stuff that we're going to be behind, and we're going to and with that will come a number of things, but Healthcare for Action is behind doing that. And we welcome everyone's participation. Republicans, Democrats, animals, anybody. Welcome. Please.
Good. Yeah, we're a big open tent,
Yes.
Well, Dr. Dua, thank you. I appreciate Nida so much. You're a great one. And we will see you again soon. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye.
It's all about actual items. We're just at a point now where, we've done a lot of gloom and doom. We've done a lot of the world is ending, where it's all, we think it's the end of the world, and it's not. Okay. There's actual items you have to do, because again, tell your friends, the math don't math when they say, oh, they're just implementing work requirements. Why would they implement work requirements, but cut the money that would support about 15 million people? Because they know work requirements equals kicking people off. Okay. It's not because they have to work. Everybody's working. 54%, 56% of people on Medicaid, Medicare are working. The number one employer for people on federal benefits is Walmart. In the top 5 from a study from the GAO did a study 5 years ago. Walmart, McDonald's, Dollar General. And if you've ever been to a rural community, what's where the number one? The only store there is Dollar General. Okay. Those are big employers who also happen to have people using federal benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, and we didn't even talk about the SNAP cuts. So please tell your friends when you have these conversations, and then prepare your own family for this when it comes, because the math tells us 15 million or so eligible people are going to lose their health care. And the Republicans saying it's meant to make it more, to save it or to preserve it. It's a lie. The goal is to cut trillions of dollars out of the budget so billionaires can have tax cuts. Period. And with that, we got to lighten things up. And how do we lighten things up here on Too Late to Cancel? Every week, we do it with a great panel, returning friends, new friends. So this week we got both. We've got Lace Larrabee coming to us from Atlanta, where she's barely been awake for about 3 hours and had to do her makeup while we were getting ready. And then, of course, Brandon Taylor comes from Chicago, who also got up early. And I don't know if he had to do his makeup or not, but he's here. Let's bring on the panel, JJ.
Hey.
Hey, welcome.
Oh
Good to see you
no.
again, ladies. Good to see you, Brandon.
Hey, good to
You know,
see you. Thanks for calling me out for my late night shenanigans,
hey, I'm
Fred.
just saying, this is you gotta be careful what you say in the pre-show, sister, because I'm gonna talk.
Nah, you're fine.
Brandon's new.
They can see it on the face.
Yeah.
It's good.
There you go. Brandon doesn't know I'm gonna talk about how he changed shirts twice. He's moved around the house for the last hour.
Yeah. I've been trying to get situated, man. This is
Oh
live.
man.
my favorite one was he had a white t-shirt against a white wall. It's like a floating head.
Yeah. I got to change the shirt now. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you guys. Welcome to Too Late to Cancel. Got a couple of thousand people on, no pressure. We really appreciate you guys. You guys got, I was so excited. Anne-Marie the Booker gets us together. And what I loved about both, it's funny how I always get your bios and I'll start, you guys know, and Lace knows I do this. I dig into their bios and Brandon. And both of you always talk about, like you talk about sharing knowledge and instructing. Lace, you run a stand-up comedy program in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
The whole motivation behind Brandon's work, both the stand-up and hosting and karaoke, is to entertain and show people what a different life looks like than theirs. I just thought it'd be fun to have you guys together because you're both in the business of comedy and also in the business of informing people. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice to meet you, Brandon. I didn't get to chit chat with you before, so I'm glad we're on the panel together.
Likewise, Lacey. This is a cool experience, man. I appreciate being here on live with you guys, all the way from Chicago. Check me out, hi people, hi mama.
Hey, mom. And man, by the way, we're doubling up on you, Lace, because Brandon's a St. Louis guy too, just like me. So this is the
Okay.
and Brandon, you
Uh-huh.
started on the scene. I saw the story they did about you on our beautiful local station KSDK about 7 years ago about how you
Yeah.
started this all. And Lace, maybe your story too. You just did an open mic night one night, right? What drove you to grab an open mic and at a comedy club?
So my story is actually, I had always been performing. I had started like in acting as a kid
Yeah.
and loved being on stage. Then I did pageants for a long time. I think we might have talked about that last time, and if we didn't,
Yep.
but I'm a
Yep.
former beauty pageant girl and
Me too.
paid for. Yeah, I figured. I mean, you know a lot about it, so yeah, I did it. I paid for most of my college doing it, so it was kind of a means to an end for me. But loved being on stage, loved performing, thought acting was the thing, right? Loved
Right.
comedy, was a big comedy fan. I was bartending, much like your son. You're talking about that. I bartended. That was my
Yep.
sole job for 12 years of my life.
Wow.
Bartending, just being a smart ass, slinging drinks and jokes back behind the stage. And I had this regular who's like, you talk about all these things, you have all this stage experience. Why don't you do stand up comedy? He's like, you've got
Hmm.
stories to tell. You love, cracking jokes. And I was like, maybe one day we'll see. Like, I grew up poor. I grew up in a trailer. I don't have, entertainers in my family. I didn't know there was a path to that. You see people on TV, Brandon, you might have
Mm-hmm.
gone through the same thing, like in the Midwest, like you don't, it seems so far away. That doesn't seem
Yeah.
real, right? To
Absolutely.
actually do it. So this guy, this regular, he's like, he started doing open mics. Then he started running shows like within like a year. And he comes in, he goes, I'm sick of telling you to do stand up. He goes, I've booked you on a show. He said,
That's crazy.
he said, you have 3 months to prepare. He said, I took a headshot of yours I found on the internet. It's on the flyer. So you have to do it now. It's already out there. And this was 13 years ago. And I said, okay, I guess this is it. And I waited 3 months and then wrote a set the night before and then did the show. I invited all my bartending friends. So I had I packed the audience full of drunk, wooing white girls. And
Yeah.
and that's how you do it, and they wooed for me. And I
That's a
actually,
hell of a comedy rollout.
right? And it
Right.
actually
You
went
got
really well. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, shit, okay, this is it. This is because I thought it was acting. I thought it was this. And then I was like, no, it's me saying my own words, not trying to say someone else's words they wrote for me.
yeah.
This is my story to tell. And then I never
When
stopped. 13
And
years
Brandon,
later.
you end up at an open mic. You grew up, in different circumstances, South St. Louis. I mean, what drove you to
Yeah.
pick up that microphone? I mean, I'm dying.
Um, for me, sports wasn't really it. Like I liked sports, but I never just had the ability to make it far. So I'm like, I need an outlet. I need a vice. I need something, right? Like, what's
Yeah,
my thing? My friends wanted to rap. I didn't really want to do that. I seen that kind of for everybody else. Like, I don't want to rap. And I was always told I was funny. Not that I was the funniest kid in class, because I didn't. My mom was like way too strict. She wouldn't let me like clown, and like get sent to detention and like that. But the funniest kid would always tell me that I was funny. So it was like,
yeah.
there's got to be something there. And then one day, man, I was like, I worked like maybe a block away from the comedy club, and I just decided to go check it out. And then I said, if they can do it, I can try it. And I haven't stopped since. I think that was like in 2016.
Wow.
To say, wow, you had an amazing rollout to starting comedy. You brought like uh, friends and people believe in you. It was just me wanting to say the stuff that was in my head.
Yep.
Nobody else
Yeah.
wanted to know about it.
They didn't want
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
my friends weren't sure either. That's why they got drunk. They were like, this could be terrible.
Good
But we'll
call.
see. And turns out I had a lot to say. And then now I do stand up full time. That is my full time job. And then I also get to teach people the same thing that I learned, which was how to harness your voice and tell your story on stage. And now I'm teaching my 54th 6-week class right now.
Wow.
That's
Of
amazing.
students.
I
Yeah.
still work a 9 to 5, but yay, comedy.
Hey, I figured it
And
out.
I was watching your
Yeah,
You
transition.
did. You
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Oh, man, the pathway covered in gold. You did it.
I did it.
Well,
Hey,
she did.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
was
mean,
an
she
easy.
did.
Yeah.
Don't forget, she was on America's Got Talent, where she
I
did pretty
was.
well. Season
Exactly.
seven,
And I think that's
season 17
incredible.
semifinalist. She busted
That's
You
your
give
right.
me
ass Simon
something to
Cowell's voice.
strive for. I just got a new carrot put in front of me.
There
Good,
you go.
good.
Yeah,
Do
you're
it.
still in that. You're still grinding it out, right? You moved to Chicago. Why'd you leave St. Louis and go to Chicago?
My wife, she moved here.
That's why I'm in St. Louis.
My wife, and God bless her. I love my wife. She's amazing. Hi, honey. Um, she works for a major hospital here in Chicago. She started working on uh, DEI at some certain points, social determinants of health. She was with a huge project with that, if I'm not
Yeah,
butchering it all, because she tells
yeah,
me
yeah,
on the way home from work. But yeah, she was working with the social determinants of health in the city of Chicago, and it was a massive project. Things are switching around due to current climate,
yeah.
political things. I'm not a political. I barely pass world history, so I'm really surprised I'm on here. But so we're trying to figure that out here in the city of Chicago. We appreciate what I heard earlier from the doctor. Um, but I think comedy is my way to try to bring some joy from
Yeah.
that. I want to um, find ways to talk about what's going on and point to my audience that there are real issues in this world.
Right.
But make it funny.
Yep. I think you both do. I mean, Lace, you have a lot of fun poking fun at the Southern Belle personas and those things, but in
Yeah,
a lot of ways, but that's your growing up. Brandon, your growing up was in the South Side, an urban setting. It's a little bit different and
yeah.
offering
Yeah,
that
I talk
perspective, I think
about the
that
parking a
matters.
lot here in Chicago.
And see,
Nightmare fuel.
Oh
I mean,
man,
whether you're political or not, or wherever you stand, that's the great thing about being a stand-up comic is every time you're in front of an audience, you can at least find one thing that we all can complain about together.
yeah,
And that's how we really truly cross the aisle, right? You're like, we all
just
hate parking, right? And then everybody's like, yes, and then we can all hold hands,
Shit, yes.
kumbaya. Now we're best
maybe
friends.
we
Yeah,
can come together
we
one
can
day.
come together with hate. That's what I like to do is to find out what
Yeah,
we all hate together. That's how I bring
yeah, and we
And there's
tackle it
so
one
much to
thing at a
offer
time.
now. There's so much to
exactly.
offer. There's so much to offer now. There's so many opportunities
Yeah,
for things to hate.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know. I saw you were
Oh
railing.
man.
Weren't you just railing recently, Lace, about people just now watching comedy on their phones and not showing up the show?
Oh
Like, oh, I
my
saw your show on
God.
the COD. I mean, and Brandon, I know you suffered the same thing. I mean, Lace, I mean, is it making you nuts?
It's crazy. You can't, I mean, but people, so the industry now forces you to kind of put out clips, right? You got to
Right.
put clips out. No one knows who the hell you are anymore. It doesn't. You said I was on America's Got Talent. I was. Apparently, they claim 26 million people watch every episode. I was
Wow.
on 4 episodes of it. It changed my life as far as like gave me a better credit that like got me into better clubs, right? Headlining better clubs, but my numbers online barely went up. That
Wow.
used to like a spot like that on TV used to change your life. Like then the
Right.
whole world would know who you are because everybody used to sit down and all watch the same thing at the same time, right? Somebody would get like Fallon, you'd get on Jimmy Fallon one time and then you get a sitcom. Like the whole world saw you at once. And now
Wow.
there's so many different, you're bombarded with thousands and thousands of images every day. There's no way you're clocking in. You might see a clip of a comic and go, "Oh, they're okay. They're funny," or "I giggled," and then they're going to keep scrolling. They're not going to the effort it takes to look at that comedian, watch that 30 seconds, stay for 30 seconds, watch it, then go look up more information, go to their website, find out where their shows are, then get your ass out of your house and actually drive somewhere, sit somewhere, buy 2 drinks, watch a show. It's impossible nowadays. Like, and so we
Wow.
have to pump out clips, right? We got to put these clips out, clips,
Yeah.
clips, clips. And
Which
it's
don't
just how
monetize. They're not paying the bills, are they?
they're not paying the bills. You're giving out free content. This is stuff I've spent 13 years of my life honing. And then, some of the jokes I'll have to, use old jokes, new jokes, whatever. Some stuff is half finished. Some stuff is fully finished and it's a great bit. But I have to just give away my stuff for free online just to hope to God to get, 2 new fans who now want to come see me live at a show.
Yeah.
And then so
I
you do
think
all this work and then you get hateful ass comments too. So all day long as a woman, I
yeah.
put anything of myself online and go under the comments on any clip I've put on Facebook specifically. It'll be an old guy and it'll all of them will say
Go team.
women aren't funny. She's hot, not funny. When does the funny start? This isn't funny. What do you? And I'm like, this is my full time job, and I just have to sit there and get bullied all day by dudes who look like my grandpa online, and
I
then they'll
don't.
follow up but and send a picture of their penises in the, you know, DM. You know,
I have never done that.
I didn't
I
say
imagine it's a
this was
different.
you, Fred.
Okay, I
I didn't
appreciate
say
that.
He's
Brandon,
talking
I know.
about me,
Hopefully,
not
hopefully,
joking.
Brandon, you're.
Brandon. That's where I know you from. Damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Trying to figure it
I
out.
wanted to get your attention.
one
Yeah.
does one
The
does what has
memes
to
weren't
do.
doing enough. I needed to get a wower out there. Yeah.
Exactly.
You still never
Exactly.
liked my comment.
We use the asset we have. I don't know what to tell you. There's a reason I don't send
Hey,
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 go to one of my shows and I'll like your comment. All right, that's what I'll do.
okay, yeah. All shooters shoot. You, you,
Everybody can send me as many penises as they want as long as they come buy a ticket to a show. Honestly, at this
it's
point, I
got,
don't care.
you
This
gotta
is
monetize it though,
You
Leslie.
got to monetize
I get
something,
it.
right?
I'm sorry you go through that. Um,
Thank
I
you.
think I've lost control of the panel. Brandon, I hope you're not getting dick pics. Just,
you know what? It's
it's a
only my
different
mom
experience.
following me, so it would be weird at that point. Yeah, it would be
No, it would be
weird if
really weird.
my mom sent me a
Your
dick
mom
pic.
sending hate like this isn't funny. You should get a job. Mom, shit.
She's like, I'm
Yeah,
just
I
trying to
hate.
get you. She's like, I'm just trying to get you traction under your videos. That's it, honey.
Yeah. Thanks a lot,
Engagement
mom. You believe in me.
That's right.
It's
Any engagement is good engagement in this world.
but I
That's
gotta
right.
say, doing content though, man, it's work. So when you
Yeah.
say that's your full time job, I get it. You're
Yeah.
from 8 a.m. to whenever. If you and then you got to do clubs and you got to tour and you got
Mm-hmm.
to do that kind of stuff. It's a lot. Being even in my current state of entertainment and comedy, it's a lot. But because I don't have a certain credit, then it doesn't push you further. But even with that, like you said, that stuff not driving your numbers. It's all about how you get out to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
And that
important. Like,
changes every day. Like the algorithms change every
yeah,
day. There's no right
yeah,
answer. It's crazy. It's
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm. So I put out
Right.
stuff when I like it, and
yeah.
what's coming to me will come.
Mm-hmm.
What's meant for me, I'll see it. But yeah, I don't want to be doomed to that, because that's
Yeah,
tiring to
Right.
yeah,
to go through that, that's tiring.
yep.
But to
Right.
keep it light, to keep it light. I do think it's interesting that I seen a article. A guy bought a piece of art. It was a banana duct taped
Yeah.
a canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For millions. Yeah.
Yeah, he sold it for millions.
Hmm.
Yep.
I got an idea. I'm gonna duct tape a banana to the floor, and I'm gonna call it potassium fluoride.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward. It's a little bit. It's a
There you
little bit
go.
Boom,
cerebral, even. You
Was
know.
right
good.
there, right?
See, and this is why, Fred, you have comedians on your show. It's we fit
Yeah.
right in. You've
It
got
is. It's like
doctors. You
this
went
is
to
cerebral shit
Harvard.
right here. I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now. We're making people think. It's
Yeah.
you gotta think of things you gotta think about.
Yeah.
Brandon, you doing a thing like that. You got the Brandon Taylor experience. What is that? What's that all about?
Um, so I like to uh I like to entertain, right? I like to create a vibe and experience, right? And whether that's we're doing karaoke or if I'm telling jokes or you want to do a roast session, you want to do questions and games, I want to create kickbacks.
Yeah.
I want to tailor it to people. So it's like you have a birthday party, but when you have a birthday party, what are you gonna do? Play music, eat cake, and then go home? No,
Yeah.
you want an atmosphere. And when you bring a host to that atmosphere, you have things going on, there's movement, you can have conversations. It becomes a full experience. So that's really what I want to do with the Brandon Taylor experience, or I be joking as I like to call it. But yeah, that's the goal. And then we can do karaoke. I've done quite a few shows throughout the Midwest. I've been driving up and down. It's lonely.
Hmm.
Yeah, I bet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's that people don't talk about that part much, do they, Lace? That it
They
is,
they don't. No,
the
everybody
road.
Oh
thinks,
yeah,
yeah, comedy's so glamorous, right? That's what everybody thinks, and it seems that way if you look at the top 1% of comedians that you do get to see
yeah.
that are on
Cause
TV. All that you see the same ones over and over and over. There's no real
Sarah
room for.
Silverman and all that. Yeah, Amy
Yeah, you get to
Schumer. You
see
see
the
these
top the
ladies.
top tier, yeah, but and it
Damn.
looks great, but the majority of people doing stand up,
You paved
there's
that
so many more
paved
of
that
us where
highway.
yeah, those
Yeah.
clubs have to stay full every single weekend, right? Every calendar of every
Hmm.
comedy club in every city has to have somebody performing every weekend. And so the majority of us are the ones of us working clubs aren't working arenas and giant theaters and all of
Yeah.
that. Like we're just working. We're just working comedians.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who we
Yeah.
are. We're not famous. We can go to the grocery store, we can do all that. And we're just on the road by ourselves. I mean,
Yeah.
I fly by myself every single weekend, just alone, and I know,
Working and
All right.
so when
yeah.
people say, "Oh, they're just at home playing video games and eating chips," it's kind of wild. But
Half
it's
my
like,
job is half my job is navigating airports. Like that's literally it.
yeah,
That's it right
That's half
there.
my damn job, getting in and out
All
of an
right,
airport.
let's bring in the panel picks because I've been having
Let's
the
do it.
conversation so long. JJ's like, "Hey, you're forgetting half the show." Oh shit.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Sorry,
That's
sorry,
right. All
sorry.
right, bring it up. Lace is a veteran. She's done this before. Brandon, you may not be able to see him. So Midwest versus South. The joys of unemployment. I figured all of us could relate to that. The finest cuisine of our homes because all of us come from places with unique cuisine.
Hmm.
And then getting political. Lace, ladies first. Pick one, and we'll just jibber jabber.
Let's do finest cuisines. This is from like home, like from our
Yeah.
where we're from, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's do that.
You grew up in the South. And,
Yeah.
what was the great cuisine of your home,
Oh,
your hometown, your
fried
home?
fried things and things with pork in them. So you can't eat a vegetable unless it's fried and or was cooked in pork, some kind of pork. So if we had beans, there was going to be ham in the beans. For a long time, I thought ham was part of beans. I thought beans
yeah.
and
It's not.
ham just came. I didn't know those were two separate things that
Yeah,
were together. So that's it. And then I've lived in Atlanta for the last 20 years. And I have to say chicken wings. That's what we're known for here. So you
that's
can't take
it.
two
Which is
steps
weird.
outside without seeing a chicken bone on the ground. So
You
that's how you know
know,
you're in Atlanta. If
that
you
is
forget
effing
West City.
true.
So
The first time I went down, and not like every part, like even Buckhead, like the
any part of
snooty part
Atlanta,
of town. You go to
any
the
part.
park, and there's like remnants of chicken. I don't know what that's all about, and now you've explained it. You know,
It's how you
and I
know
had
it's
to bring
Atlanta.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
that's
in
how you
Atlanta. Oh,
know.
it's chicken. That must be. Oh, there's chicken bones in the picture. Oh, that's from Atlanta. That's why it's a
That's right.
stock
Oh,
photo.
it's Atlanta.
But
Yeah, just
Brandon,
in
you're
case.
from St. Louis. You're from St. We're known for weird shit we eat. Tell everybody about what we eat here in St. Louis, man.
Well, I won't call my food weird. My food's delicious. Okay, that's what I'm gonna call
Exactly.
All right.
I did
All right.
no offense. Look
but
at that. I already offended you.
but but I get it. I get it because on one end of St. Louis, you really do have what's called the Square Bianca Imperial. You have your Emos Pizza, right?
There it
Your
is with the
Ted Drew's
Provel
ice cream.
pizza.
Those two are staples.
Hmm.
Emo's Pizza, Ted Drew's ice cream. Those are staples. But I want to take y'all a little to the other side. You know what I'm saying? I want to bring y'all to the other side of things. There's a restaurant in Ferguson called Kathy's Kitchen. Fire
Yes.
food, okay? Fire food. There's
Yes.
another restaurant for if you want a more elegant fine dining, Prime 55. Another amazing restaurant. You'll love it. You'll love
You
it.
got that's good eating. I tell you, up north is some great eating. That's where the best is, you know. But I had toasted raviolis last night. My brother-in-law was in town,
Absolutely,
which is a
absolutely.
uniquely St. Louis thing, and
You
Provel
gotta
cheese.
have those
Don't get
toasted raviolis.
you gotta have the toasted raviolis. I mean, if people haven't had that his experience, when you come to San Diego, you gotta have the T Rav, you gotta have Ted Drews. Lace, you've been here. You've have
I
you
have.
enjoyed our? Yeah,
I
you've
have.
come
I just
through.
yeah, in the fall or the winter. Maybe it was October, November. I can't remember, but there is a festival that happens in St. Louis every year called Flyover Comedy Festival.
Yeah, I
Yes,
And
did flyover.
huge,
Yeah,
yeah,
once
I
I
huge.
was
got to do flyover once. I'm hoping to do it again this
yeah.
year.
All right, shout
Yeah,
out
I
to
love it.
Flyover. Y'all look out for Brandon. I was one of the headliners for it last year. So
Wow.
I
Yeah,
oh my God, I had no idea how cute downtown St. Louis was.
Yeah, and that's in the
it's a
Grove. It's a
vibe,
great
right?
area. The Grove's a
Oh,
great area.
the
Yeah, the
Grove was
Grove is a great area.
fantastic. So cute, great food. Had the fried raviolis, had all that stuff, and the zoo there. The zoo is
Yeah,
incredible. It's
gotta
the
check out
coolest.
the zoo.
Right,
You got to
world
go to the
class.
zoo. Oh my God. And it's free to the public. That's the thing. I went 2 days in a row. Talk about being alone on the road. That's the kind of shit you do by yourself. You
Oh
just go
no,
and
I
you
get it.
wander around a zoo for 10 hours and then you go get on stage, you
And you
know.
Lacey,
can,
you
you
seem
know.
pretty fit. If you next time you're in St. Louis, check out the City Museum.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an
Oh,
experience.
no, I
The
went.
one with the airplane on top. Got the airplane top.
Yeah,
They took us on a
yeah.
field trip. They took us on a field trip there. Yeah.
Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to do that. That's a lot
Yes.
of fun. Or check out the arch. I dig that.
Yes. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
It's a very cool town. JJ's in the chat saying, asking questions. There's Italian people in Missouri, St. Louis, because we toast our ravioli. Does he not know, right, Brandon? This is Italian Central. It's literally a statue of
Yes,
Italian
yes.
people.
And
The immigrant
much,
statue is Italian people. Those are my people on my mother's
yeah,
side.
South Side, South
That's
Hill, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
Uh,
I'm offended by you,
Sa-
JJ. I'm not going to bring you on screen
St.
ever
Louis
again.
has many of the same little pockets other cities have. We
Yeah,
don't
we've
Yeah.
got a
necessarily have a Chinatown, but we
no.
do in
Yeah.
some ways.
Yeah.
But we do have like a little Italy.
Yep.
Mexico, because St. Louis, we for Mardi Gras, we do it real big for Mardi Gras and
Oh
Cinco de
yeah.
Hmm.
Mayo. Yeah,
Yeah.
city
Yeah, it's
comes out
actually
for those two
also one of the
holidays.
largest Bosnian and population in the
Absolutely,
country, which is
Did not
because
know that.
absolutely.
yeah, they came over in the wave, during the Civil War. So we have a beautiful,
Hmm.
vibrant Bosnian
Very cool.
population, beautiful,
Very
vibrant
cool.
Muslim population. It's great. I mean, I moved back here from the East Coast thinking, oh, I'm not gonna be able to get my good, Lebanese food. Or nope,
Hmm.
I was wrong. Syrian. They're literally
Yeah.
Yep.
they're opening a Yemeni coffee shop in my
Ooh.
neighborhood, not
That's
far from where
nice.
I live. I know, I'm like, sweet, So
Yeah.
See?
I'll be the only white guy there, but it's gonna be awesome. Which
I
will not
love
be the
it.
first time that's happened to me. Panel picks back
Yeah.
up,
All right. What do
JJ.
we got?
We got more. We got time. We're gonna go long. Nick's over here going. You're gonna go long, Fred. I'm like, you're right, Nick. I'm gonna go long. All right, Brandon, you're up.
Um, the joys of unemployment.
There.
Unemployment is what that's called.
Fun
Fun
employment.
employment.
How's that go?
Yeah,
I know you had a bouncy landing in Chicago. It's not easy, is it?
not at all, man. I was unemployed for like a year and a half,
Oh
and
Mm.
not for
shit.
lack of trying though, because like
Oh.
one thing they don't tell you, man, like when as a newly married man, like you're still expected to provide something.
Mm.
What's up with that?
You
I
know,
thought we
it's
progressed.
2025 and I still have to like do stuff. So I would like go into businesses, right? And ask them, are they hiring? And they would tell me to leave and go home and apply online. Like they would not interview you in the business. Like the
That's
help wanted
wild.
sign is just decoration.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's wild. Yeah.
I
I
get it.
think I mean, I feel unemployed as a comedian. I don't.
Because
I was gonna
because
say
when certain gigs don't hit, it's like, what am I gonna do?
Well,
exactly.
also, like I wander around the earth like while people are working. Like I'm out and about doing stuff, and I'm like, does everybody? I look like I don't have a job all the
People
time,
work
and
during the
then I'm,
day.
yeah, I'm like a day walker, right? I'm out here I'm doing all my stuff. The stuff people do on the weekends, I do during the week, during the days. But then I'm
Yeah.
up and alive at having to work at night. And so it does
Uh-huh.
look like I don't have a job to everybody else. So I forget that
But
other
That's
your
people
funny.
don't.
out, but you put in your hours are probably like six of the amount of travel stuff that you're doing throughout the
Once
week.
you count the
Like,
travel
Yeah.
part of it too, yeah. I mean, all to
yeah.
be on
Yeah.
stage for like an hour, you're looking at, getting to an airport, getting on a plane, however long that flight is, landing, checking into the hotel, getting your notes ready for the night, going out, exploring, the city a little bit, or researching the
So
city,
you can
knowing what you're
write
about to
fresh
talk about,
material for the
so you
night,
can write
man.
some
Yeah.
stuff
I
for
didn't
the
think about
night.
Comedy is
that.
a lot
I
of
never
hurry
thought
up
about
and wait.
that. I never thought about
Yeah.
that. That's a good point. You can't
Yeah.
get up there and look like you don't know what you're doing. So
Well, you can,
Yeah.
you can be, you can
like
be a
Trump.
low-key
But
comedian. Yeah,
part of
exactly.
what
You
part of
can
what
make it
makes
up.
the comedy magic starts when they feel like they can trust you to laugh. People don't
Right.
always trust you to laugh. They want to
No.
know what you're going to say first. And so when you got to
Yep.
crack that seal of silence with them, you got to hit
Hmm.
them with something familiar. You got to hit them with something that they
Yep.
connect with. And you can't do that if you don't explore the city.
and
yeah.
everybody and everybody prefers, like, people act like they don't want to be talked about on stage or whatever, and people are a little afraid
Oh,
of
but
crowd
they
work,
want it.
but they want it. What they really want
Oh,
you, because
they want to,
it's
yeah. No
familiar.
Vaseline either.
That's right. No, that's right. Just going in. They like the thing is everybody wants to be seen a little bit, like
Yeah.
they
Hmm.
don't want to be the spotlight, but they want to be seen, and they don't want someone just coming in and talking at them. They want to feel like you're kind of, and that's the trick to good stand-up comedy, is it should always feel like a conversation, right? I mean, yeah, I don't want my audience talking like, shut up and listen to me, but I want the other part of the
Yeah.
conversation to be them laughing and listening, and
It's a,
so to
it's a
get them
give
on
and
your
take.
side, yeah, you got
It's
to
a
say,
give
hey,
and take.
I see you. I see you. I see your town. I see who y'all are. I see what you're about. And then they'll happily get to laugh at my stories and my jokes if I have
Because it's
now,
stuff that I Yeah, and
yeah,
that's what makes
introduced
it magic. That's
myself.
what
Yeah.
makes it magic. That's what makes it a thing. So where you got a good experience at a comedy show.
Yeah.
Because when you have a guy or a lady, because I don't want to be sound sexist, when you have a person go on stage and they just want to do the stuff that they've been writing in their Einstein mind, it's like, no, you don't know me yet. And I'm paying good money
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Especially when it's
I
the
love
first
it.
time you've been to that town. I mean, I
Yeah.
thankfully get to do this all the time. So I know a lot of towns now, and I know things about certain towns,
Absolutely.
but I love going to a new place and just, looking online, going and exploring, and then asking people. I'll just go, hey, what do y'all do around here? What do you,
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
fun?
what do
What weird
people
shit
not
do you
know?
eat?
Yeah,
What's a
who are
toasted
I
you
like to
really?
find
ravioli?
the local weed shop. That's my thing. Can I find
The
Eh?
what?
where's your local weed shop? Yeah. Let me yeah. I don't
It's
want to carry it
important.
on me because that's illegal. I don't be driving
That's
around with it.
illegal.
But
We know
when I
that
get
part.
there,
Don't.
yeah.
I definitely don't fly with any either. No, never,
Yeah.
never done it. Not at all.
Don't
I'm
do
sure the
that.
government's not watching. I'm sure.
No,
Maybe. I don't
no,
know.
don't worry.
Panel picks one more. One more, then
All
we'll let
right,
her go.
all right.
I think Lace, you're up.
Let's do Midwest versus South. We're already talking about it. We're talking
There you
about
go. It sort
geography.
of goes
Yeah.
into the food thing, So we got the Midwest represented by me and Brandon. Of course, you're the Southern. But now I lived in the South most of my military career because that's where they put us.
Right.
I've lived in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. There's that. Oh my God, the
My
bells.
family all lives around like near Savannah. So I went
Do
where I
they?
went to high school was
Okay.
like 45 minutes from Savannah. We'd actually have to drive through Fort Stewart. Are you familiar with Fort Stewart? The
That's where I was
Army base?
stationed.
No,
Yeah.
are you
That's where I
kidding
went
me?
to war. Yeah.
So I
Hunter
went
Army
to
Airfield. Hunter Army Airfield in Savannah?
of
That's
course,
my
yeah.
son's name, Hunter. I named him after an airfield. It's
Get out of here,
weird. I
Fred.
admit it. Yeah, true story.
So
I said,
I
that's a cool name for an
Wow.
airfield. I'm going to name my kid that.
Hey,
You're so
so I
patriotic,
literally.
dude.
I am, man. I'm fucking
So then,
American.
Fred, Glenville, Georgia. Glenville's
Yes,
right
I
next to
do.
Hinesville. So I
Yes.
lived in. When I was 13, my family moved to Glenville, Georgia. And when you pulled out of
Wow.
our house, you would turn right. There's just the
Right there
one
at the gate.
highway, 301. That's the only highway. And or yeah, you would pull out, and then you would turn, and then we'd have to drive through Fort Stewart to get to
Through Fort
Savannah.
Stewart.
Yeah, and so I used to
Yeah.
go on dates in Fort Stewart, like that. That's where we would go bowling. That's where we
Oh
would go to the
yeah.
movie theater.
Oh
All that
yeah.
was right there. So
The
I
community. Did you
that's
ever get buzzed by a OH-58 Scout helicopter? That was probably me.
oh,
I used to
that's so
fly down
funny.
that road, with
Oh
the
yeah.
Apaches. We flew our
Oh yeah.
Apaches, and that was our route from Savannah to go through
Yeah.
the marshes there. Beautiful marshes. By the way, if you haven't been to Savannah, it's beautiful. But bring your
Brandon, have
bug
you ever
spray.
been? Yeah, have you ever?
No,
Oh my
no,
God!
I've not
Oh,
been
You
to
come to
Savannah.
Georgia, you got to go to Savannah. Go to
beautiful.
Atlanta and then go to Savannah. You have to
Well,
go to
Lace,
Savannah.
Just yeah,
when you
beautiful.
let me come with you, I'll ride with you.
This
Let's
is
do
gonna
it.
work out. We're pitching.
Let's
We're
do
Yeah,
it.
pitching.
yeah.
We're pitching.
I did get to spend a little time in the South. I went
Hmm.
to Rusk College, so
That's
HBCU
right.
in Holly Springs, Mississippi.
That's right.
And I love the South. I appreciate the South for what it is. It's it's great to get a different experience
Hmm.
when you travel
Hmm.
as a comic.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do train jokes in Mississippi. You
Right.
know?
Right. They
I
don't get it.
like that
They're
I
like,
don't
why would
have to
you
do
ever?
train jokes. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I like that, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate the South for all its different, little nuances. So no, I haven't been to Savannah, but I look forward to checking it out.
Oh, you
You
need to
got
get
to
down
go.
there. The Spanish
It's
moss, the old
gorgeous.
squares. It's
Yeah.
truly what it's what you picture the old South to be is Savannah.
Yeah.
It really
But
Yeah.
no,
is.
I mean, well, Brandon, don't. It's not the whole old South. Not anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna say I don't know.
no.
Yeah, I
You're
walked
I'll
right
go
into
during the
that
day
one.
maybe.
That's on me.
yeah. I was like,
Okay,
no,
that's
it's
Yeah.
Brandon
fair.
from Plantations.
the
No,
editor,
no
the
more.
president's
Yeah.
at. All right. Well, on that note, we're done, y'all. I fucked this all up. So
It
once
happens.
again, Fred walks right into social issues. All right, so Brandon, you're traveling. You're coming here to St. Louis, I think, soon. Tell us where they
Yeah,
can. Most important part, Brandon Taylor. Where can they find you?
I'll be at the St. Charles Funny Bone.
Been
That's
there.
in St. Charles, Missouri. Yeah,
Been there.
the 17th and the 20th.
Love it.
I'm touring with my guy James Buchanan. He's been touring around with Sam Cromwell. I might be butchering his last name. I don't mean to. I think he's been on America's Got Talent. Shout out to my boy Chris Jones, who's been on AGT. I may not ever make it to that show, but you guys
You
bring out
might.
great talent though.
You
Yeah, a
might.
lot of great talent on
Might.
AGT.
We'll get
Don't
you
say you
there.
Um,
won't.
Lace, where are you going these days?
Well,
You're
I've
I know
got.
you're going to Spain. Aren't you
I
going on vacation?
am.
You're going to Beyonce. You're
I'm
going to
going to
Beyonce
Beyonce
tonight.
tonight. Tonight, I'm going to Beyonce tonight. So that I'm trying to.
awesome.
I got some. Fred, I was gonna. This is a shirt. I think I got it on Amazon. So we're gonna see if this makes it. A nipple's gonna be showing. Let's be honest.
Okay,
So
look.
Okay.
this,
Don't send me
that's
dick pics. Here's my boobs.
well.
I'm
I
just
know how this
saying.
business works. All
I'm
right.
just
All
saying.
right. But no,
And yeah.
I'm, I've kind of decided like summer's a little slow and I wanted to, live my life a little bit. I have shows. I got shows coming up. I'm always doing shows, but at Lace Larrabee, if you follow me on TikTok or Instagram in my bio, you click that and it'll show you my upcoming tour dates. I've got all kinds of stuff coming up. I've got a one-nighter in Pittsburgh with Steve Byrne and the guys from Impractical Jokers. We're doing a big
Nice.
fundraiser up there together. And then I've got Vegas after that. And then I'm always coming around, right? So the whole country, like anywhere I've already been, I'll be coming back through sometime in the next year. And yeah, there's a way you can just follow through my site or on my Instagram, and it'll track me and tell you where I am, which is
Love
great
it.
for stalking. So real creepy, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then I've got an old special of mine. It was from 3 years ago, but I'm so proud of it. It's on YouTube. It's called White Trash Cinderella. The filming quality sucks, but there's like 1.9 million views on the 800-pound gorilla. If you go to 800-pound gorilla
Wow.
link, like you can check that out. But yeah, that kind of got me on the map a little bit, which I was really proud of. There's an album that goes with it that is
All right.
great to listen to in the car. I'm really proud of that one.
And
Yeah.
we're getting
Congrats
Brand
to
Tail on
you,
the map
Lace.
too. We're gonna get you there. This is
Congrats
where
to
we go.
you.
This is where they go to get on the map. Beautiful, too late to cancel. Guys, what a joy to have you. I almost forgot to do the rest of the show because I hang out with you guys. Thank you so much. This is why I
Thank
do it,
you.
to cheer me. We talk about Medicaid
Yeah.
cuss and we get cheered up about the journey. I love hearing your stories. Lace, thank you for your time again. We appreciate you. Brandon, So great to connect with you. Can't wait. I'll try and get to see you in St. Louis. I might be out of town, but we'll hunt you down sometime. So
Yeah,
in the
man. Thanks so
meantime,
much, bro.
love to have you back again, guys. Thanks for joining us on a Sunday morning. I know you didn't get any sleep, Lace. Go take a nap, and we will before Beyonce. Take a nap before Beyonce, and we will see you guys
Can't
again.
wait to see
Thank
the
you.
Instagram pics.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
they'll
go.
be there. Oh, they'll be there. Thanks
See
for
ya.
having us. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
And
you.
sorry for the loss of your mentor too. That was a beautiful story
Absolutely, man. My
earlier. So
Thank you.
condolences.
Oh,
yeah.
I appreciate
My
it. Yeah, I was
condolences.
like, it's funny how you, I've had a journey. I've lost some folks, but every now and then you're like, oh, that one hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And the
understand.
whole, you don't really get to say goodbye. I was lucky because I saw him, that last
Mhm.
time I think about 3 years. I think I just left Lincoln, so you're talking 22. So I get to
Mhm.
see him, and that was before the dementia really
Good.
settled in. He was a little
That's
bit,
good.
but
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right,
You're
guys,
so
get the hell out of
welcome.
here. We'll see you later.
Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye.
Great to
What a blast, man. I love this. This is why we do this. So thanks for joining us again. We did go long. Nick P was right. We did go long as we always do. But we had a lot of laughs. Hope you enjoyed it. Please tell your friends. Look, I didn't say at the beginning of the show, you got to like that. We're trying to grow that YouTube channel. It's getting bigger. A lot of you are watching on Twitter. I love that. A lot of you, we got a couple, 300 folks on Substack. Do that too. It's fpwellman.substack.com. You can support the show. We've got a website. JJ produced a website. It's amazing. TooLateToCancel.com. It's so easy. All of our shows are there. All of our social media is there. If you haven't gone over the website, click a link. You can sign up for the Substack right there. JJ made it so easy because I'm too stupid to do things right. So I'd love you to go over there. You got producer Katie there. You got our youth correspondents on there. So please, would love so much for you to check out the website and then join us on Substack and all. In the meantime, it's good to be back. We took a week off. We'll be back again next week. We may have to pre-record because I think JJ and I are both gonna be partying somewhere. I'm going to a music festival as one does, and but we will see you again next week, same place. Tell your friends, share it with your friends. 11 a.m. Eastern every Sunday right here. Too Late to Cancel. Our other shows are growing. We're adding a new show shortly, and of course Friday night we've got exclusive the OG Pod. FP Wellman on Democracy FP Wellman right on the Midas Touch Network. It runs live at 7 p.m. Eastern every Friday night. Just so much going on right now. Oh, and I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you. We've rolled back out our In the Hot Seat with FP Wellman series, which is interviews I'm doing with candidates for Congress and Senate. We've already got our first one up on the Midas Touch Network. They posted it last night. It's In the Hot Seat with a guy named Jordan Wood, who's running against Susan Collins. I got a lot of cool. Annie Andrews is going to come join us next week. I talked to Chuck Hubbard. We're going to Virginia Fox. So it's on the Midas Touch Network periodically, a periodic post, probably about 2 a week, called In the Hot Seat. You can learn a lot about the very brave people who are stepping up in a very tough time to run for office and taking that plunge for us so we can fight back. If we flip these seats, we can fix this outrageous attacks on our healthcare and our country. So with that, I will let you go. Thank you for joining us on Sunday Live. I'm Fred Wellman. This is Too Late to Cancel. Thank you from all of us here at the show. We'll see you next week.